Welcome to Good Night Lincoln on Channel 10. I'm Andrew Schleicher, and I'm here to talk about today's controversial corner. Today's topic is increasing minimum wage. What if I told you you could have a pay increase? I'm assuming most of our listeners would be, yes, I want a pay increase, and how do I get it? If minimum wage is increased, majority of our listeners would get a sum of a pay increase, which sounds wonderful. Minimum wage was introduced in order to bridge the gap between inflation that happens naturally over time. Unfortunately, those are not the effects that happen, and the increasing minimum wage can be detrimental on our economy. I'm qualified to talk about this topic because I've studied countless studies for and against increasing minimum wage, and I have looked at accredited organizations and their opinions. Today I'll be discussing the three biggest side effects of increasing minimum wage, which is 1, increase in layoffs, 2, increase in product prices, and 3, a decrease in job growth, which I'll be discussing in this segment. Increasing minimum wage does not sound like a controversial issue because who wouldn't want to raise, and why would increasing be a bad thing? Unfortunately, the long-term effects are detrimental. A study done by Jonathan Meir and Jeremy West in 2013 called Effects of Increasing Minimum Wage and Employment Dynamics showed that increasing minimum wage is detrimental to the economy, especially jobs. When minimum wage increases, either more people are laid off to cover the cost or companies do not hire anymore. Which is not what America wants. America wants to be constantly growing and moving towards a bigger and better thing. But if we are laying people off and causing the unemployment rate to increase, or not causing job growth and moving jobs overseas, this doesn't help our cause. I have a graph here which shows the effects on increasing minimum wage. Ben Gitz took the Bureau of Labor statistics and created graphs out of it, and it was found that increasing the minimum wage by $1 would cause the unemployment rate to increase by approximately 1.5 and the teen unemployment rate to raise by 4.67, which although are small percentages, we shouldn't be having people lose their jobs. In addition, which I think is the more scary statistic, is increasing minimum wage by $1 would cause the net growth rate to decrease. And although it only decreases by negative 0.18% for the country, that decrease will build over time, and it will double every year, which cause less and less jobs to be available, and more people will be unable to find jobs. The Federal Bank of Chicago did a study, and they found that a 10% increase in minimum wage will cause low-skill employment to decrease by 2 to 4%, and restaurant employment to decrease by 1 to 3%. And although those are small percentages, increasing minimum wage should not cause people to be laid off or fired. Increasing minimum wage is supposed to help the quality of living, not completely remove some families' income from under their feet. Although some businesses try to avoid layoffs, in order to do so, they have to increase their price. And no one wants prices to be increased. As prices increase, that means inflation increases, and minimum wage is going to have to increase, and it turns into a cycle. I have another graph for us to share today, and this shows how minimum wage, or how wages and job growth go hand in hand. So as inflation increases, which is the red line, is directly caused by an increase in wages. So as you can see by the graph, as one increases, so does the other. So no matter how much you increase your wages, your inflation is going to follow right behind it. And at this point, our inflation is growing faster than our wages, actually. And the companies that are affected most by this are small companies because they do not have the profit that most large corporations to cover the cost that they need to pay their employees And although like McDonald's is a multi-billion-dollar industry and they make millions in profits every year, they probably can be okay by paying each employee a little extra. Unfortunately, smaller companies don't have that tendency to be able to have that much profit to be able to increase the pay, and they're going to have to make drastic changes, which could be layoffs, decrease in job growth, or increase their product cost. The Lucas Group, a national executive firm, found in a 2014 study that small and mid-sized businesses are the ones greatest affected by this, and they, especially in the service sector, and they're going to have to either hike their prices, lay off people, or not hire any new people, which America should be growing, not decreasing. So as I talked about in the segment, I talked about the three biggest side effects of increasing minimum wage: increase layoff, decrease in job growth, and increase in product price. And businesses are trying to figure out how the increased cost that they need to pay to their employees, what to do in order to keep their profits at a reasonable rate, which, as I said before, are the biggest payoffs that a company needs to face. And decreasing job growth and or increasing layoffs is not the solution, because increasing minimum wage should be helping these families, not causing them to be homeless and jobless. Because a study by heritage.org found that increasing minimum wage does not change the poverty rate. And in addition, increasing prices will just cause a whole cycle, because inflation just goes up once prices go up. Well, I'm Andrea Schleicher, and I brought to you today's controversial topic on increasing minimum wage. And good night, Lincoln.